Okay, we're recording. Hello, everybody. This is Mitch, and it's day 12 of my daily update. As you can see, I'm at the coffee shop, and I just wanted to kind of show you where I'm at, what I'm up to. Just wanted to check in with you. We're day 12 today, day 12, and it's Monday. Is it Monday? Yeah, it's Monday, January the 12th, and it's day 12 of my van life daily update. So I hope you'll stick with me. Today I'm talking about my weaknesses. I'm coming to you live from the Lamppost Coffee Shop, my hangout while I'm in the Austin area, and I hope everyone's doing okay. Today we're going to talk about the SWOT analysis that I'm doing on my project, transitioning to living in a van and traveling the United States and Canada, maybe Mexico at some point. And I thought I'd spend some time just trying to do an analysis of myself, try to find my strengths, my weaknesses, and do some planning. And that's what I've got a couple of weeks that I can spend on this. So I figure, why not? Transitioning one's life into living in a van is not something to take lightly, and I figure it's worth taking a couple of days or even a week to go through a process of trying to decide why I'm doing it. And so I'm using the SWOT analysis. S standing for strengths, W standing for weaknesses, O is looking at the opportunities that are ahead, and T is the threats. The strengths and weaknesses are internal, and the opportunities and threats come from the outside. They're external. So what we're going to deal with today is my weaknesses. And I started off just asking Peterson to help me this idea of understanding my weaknesses and what he would have to say about it. And he says it's an act of courage. It's not self-criticism. Most people don't do it because it threatens their ego. Well, I don't know about that, but anyway, here are his suggestions. He says, number one, always tell the truth. That's his first rule. Stop lying to yourself. He also suggests, number two, watch your behavior, not your intentions. It's what you do that matters, not what you plan. Look at what you do. That will help you determine what your weaknesses are, or what do you procrastinate on. Where do you quit? Where is your life disorganized? We're looking for data here. We're looking for some facts, some things that we can lean on. And then he likes this term dragons. Find your dragons. Your weaknesses are guarding a treasure. The thing you're afraid to face is actually the thing that could help you grow. Notice number four, where chaos shows up. Where in your life is it messy, unstable, inconsistent, neglected? Number five, compare yourself to yesterday. And here's one that really hits home. Are you better than you were last month? Are you better off today than you were a year ago, 6 months ago? If not, why not? The gap shows your weaknesses. And by the way, I'll have this information available for you to download down in the description. I'll have a PDF file with these notes so that you can go through and use them for your own self-analysis to try to decide try to discover what your weaknesses are. Number six, take responsibility for your flaws. It's a problem that needs to be fixed. Ownership of your weaknesses will help you fix them. Ownership transforms weakness into power. Number seven, don't confuse humility with self-destruction. We're not here to tear people down. You're not trying to go through this analysis to tear yourself down. You want to build yourself up. You don't want to turn it into shame. The goal is to aim up, not tear down. So, what did I actually discover when I went through all this? As you can see, I went through a rather extensive list. Look at all the questions that I went through and sort of wrote about. And all right, so here are the major insights that I think I came up with that seem to resonate with me. Insight number one: I don't fear being seen. I fear being judged in arenas I can't control. I can speak publicly. I can post videos on YouTube. I can stand on a stage and speak to hundreds of people. As when I was a Baptist minister, I was able to preach before hundreds of people without feeling nervous. So the fear isn't about being visible. It's about being visible in a place that I can't control. So why was all this a problem for me? Well, insight number two, it's about over-control as self-protection. These are self-protecting mechanisms that I have learned since childhood. I've learned that controlling my scene helps keep me safe. It helps preserve my dignity. And so I have always felt uncomfortable in situations that I didn't have control over. I cannot imagine the horror of spending 25 years working in the same company. Well, why is that? It's because I don't control the scene. The company does. I'm accountable to a boss, and I don't want to be accountable to a boss because it brings a judgment that I don't want. So control also kept me from compounding my efforts in terms of my skills. I've jumped around from one skill to the other, from one hobby to the other. Not because I'm lazy, but because I'm guarded. That's what we're talking about here. That's what I've discovered. Now, in terms of what this has to do with van life, well, it's a perfect fit. Somebody like me, it's a perfect fit for someone living in a van because I have total control over what's going on. I control my schedule. I control when I post to YouTube. I control when I want to paint and draw. I control when I want to stop and take photographs of a particular scene. I control it all. And so I'm in my comfort zone at that point. And being a 67-year-old person who is pretty much set in his ways, it's not about looking for areas where I need less control, but it's being more about being purposeful and finding meaning in those arenas where I do have control. I guess what it all boils down to is I have spent my life not fearing success, but avoiding success because it brings judgment. It brings eyeballs on my situation. If I were to be a success, then it's going to cause people to judge me at a different. I can stay safe. I can hide when I'm not successful. It's much more safe to not make a commitment to stay in one spot, but to constantly moving around. So I wonder if there are any of you out there who are also feeling this way, or am I the only one? Are you going to jump into your van and hit the road and travel to escape or to avoid something, or do you have a purpose? And I think the question Peterson would ask me is, what would happen, Mitch, if you stayed with one thing for 5 years? What if you chose one thing for 5 years and committed yourself to that one thing? What would happen? And Dr. Peterson says that success to many people is scary, but that's not really what takes place. Success is not scary. Success is more about visibility. Success is about being afraid and fearful of judgment, of becoming more visible. Visibility is terrifying. When you're successful, more eyes are on you. I mean, that's what YouTube is all about, getting views. And the more successful a YouTuber you are, the more views you have. And that means more visibility, more terrifying. Which is ironic, because you would think if someone was afraid of being publicly judged, then why are they posting on YouTube? Well, it's because they have control of their scene. It makes perfect sense for someone who fears being judged publicly to post videos on YouTube, because they have control. They have control over the content. They have control over the thumbnail, the title. They have control over when to post it. They have control over the music. It's much like a comedian. You know, comedians get on stage and perform, and 90% of them, when they leave the stage, become hermits. They like to hide. They're shy. They're afraid of public scrutiny. We're afraid of being judged publicly in areas, in arenas we don't have control over. But YouTube, we have control over, so we feel okay with that. The bottom line is I've got to buy into the fact that I like to control the arena in which I operate, so that I can avoid other people judging me. And YouTube is fitted for that. So is van life. Van life offers a structure by which I can travel, go about my business, and do my own thing, and have control over my scene, and do the things that I want to do. All right, enough of this self-analysis. Again, if you want some of these notes, the questions and the outline that I've used to go through this self-analysis today, I'll have them in the description. I'll have a PDF file that you can download and go through and give yourself a self-analysis to help you determine what your weaknesses are. And I know what you're asking. Why in the world is this guy going through all of this analysis, doing this therapy, this SWOT analysis about becoming a van lifer? Why don't you just go buy a van, hop in it, and hit the road? Well, if there's one thing I've learned over the last couple of days going through this analysis, is that I need to bring a purpose and meaning to what I do. And this analysis will help me focus on that. When I buy a van and hit the road, I will have a foundation on which to build. I will know why I'm there. I will know what I need to do when I get there. And I will know that it fits my personality. I know that it will, whatever I do, it will fit the person that I am. And so I think it's worth a couple of days. It's worth a few hours to do some self-analysis and figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are, and bring that to bear when you choose this lifestyle of living in a van and traveling and posting on YouTube and doing whatever else you do on social media. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now, tomorrow will be day 13 of my daily update, and I'm going to look at the opportunities. Now we're going to go external. I've done some internal work over the last couple of days, surface and brief as it has been. Again, we're not going through a deep therapy session here. We're just sort of giving some thought to, in a very surface way, giving some thought to some things that are going on. And so tomorrow we'll turn to the externals, and I'll look at the opportunities ahead. And then on Wednesday, we'll look at the threats that I face as I look to transition into life in a van. So that's the way we're headed. And once I get through with all this self-analysis, I'll probably do one more update maybe on Thursday and bring it all together and apply it to van life in general so that I can have a firm foundation on which to lean on as I transition into living in a van. And hopefully some of it will be helpful to you as well, because I know I'm not the only one struggling with these issues. I'm just the only one that's probably dealing with them in a real way and am sharing them with you on YouTube. So there's that. I'll see you tomorrow.